Hello there, my name is Marley and welcome to this video. I hope you guys are doing well. Oh, and happy holidays. So today I am going to start off a reading vlog that I'm going to be doing for most of December, and the theme for the vlog is going to be reading 5 of Indigo's top 50 books of 2020. So for those who don't know, Indigo is the biggest bookstore here in Canada, and they put out a list of the 50 top books of 2020, so like the best sellers and just the best books. So I went through and I picked 5 of those books that I have not read yet but that I really want to get to, and so I'm going to be reading those books now. In addition to that, I will also be taking part in the Disney Channel Games Readathon that a bunch of people on BookTube are putting together. I will definitely link them down below. So they announced this readathon a little after I planned this video. I managed to find a way for 3 out of 5 of the books I'm going to read to fit with their challenges for that readathon, so I'll mention those when they come up as well. The first book I'm going to be reading is The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett. This, I think Indigo recently said, was their #1 book of the year, so I had to get to it. It is about these 2 sisters who end up going their separate ways. One of the sisters decides to embrace her Black heritage and live her life as a Black woman, and the other sister decides to live her life as a white woman. Now it seems like in the present, their daughters' lives are getting intersected and their lives are getting intersected again, and I think it's just really a story about family, identity, race, all of that relevant stuff, so I'm really excited to get to this one. Another book I'm going to read is My Dark Vanessa by Kate Elizabeth Russell, and this book is about a young girl who gets in a relationship with her teacher, and so it is about the repercussions of this, and I think it's really about Vanessa's relationship with the teacher and like her realizing how messed up the relationship was. I don't think she's aware of that at the beginning of the novel. Obviously she wouldn't have been as a teenager, and just her realizing how messed up it is and coming to terms with that. Then we get to the books I'm reading also for the Disney Channel Games Readathon, and that starts with Frederick Bachman's Anxious People, and I'm going to be reading this for the DCG challenge of Simon Says, which is to read a book that has been recommended to you by the hosts. So many different hosts have talked about Anxious People along with it being in Indigo's top books of the year, and this book is about anxious people. So it seems like a robber breaks into this open house that is going on and sort of takes all of these strangers hostage, and then we are zooming in on each of their lives and I think the different things that they are going through, and it sounds like it's a really emotional book that just deals with a lot of like real issues and real topics, and I think there's a lot of like morally gray characters or something like that. Another book that I'll be reading for Indigo and also DCG Readathon is The Guest List by Lucy Foley, and this is going to meet the challenge of the obstacle course, which is to read a very action-packed book, and this is a thriller, so that fits. Basically, The Guest List is about a wedding guest list where there's a wedding that is taking place on an isle, I think in Ireland. They are isolated on this island and then people start being murdered, and I love that. I love reading about a group of people and they start getting murdered off and like trying to figure out who is doing it and why. And then the 5th and final book I'm going to be reading for this video is When No One Is Watching by Alyssa Cole, and one of the reasons I chose to read this book out of Indigo's 50 books is because of the DCG Readathon for their challenge Alphabet Soup, where you had to do a random letter generator, and I got the letter W, so that fit for When No One Is Looking. This is a thriller horror book that has to do with people in a town starting to go missing and being replaced. It deals with topics of like gentrification and like real life horror thriller topics. Again, don't know a whole bunch at this point. But yeah, I have really high hopes for all of these books as they are Indigo's top books of the year, so they better be good. And yeah, I think this is a great way to end off the year reading some of the best books that have come out. So I'm very excited to start this vlog. I hope you will keep watching to see what I think about each of the books, see my reactions, and also see how I do in the Disney Channel Games Readathon, as I'll be vlogging myself doing challenges for the readathon as well. And I forgot to mention there are 4 different teams in the Disney Channel Readathon: blue, red, green, and yellow, and I am on the yellow team, where my captains are Mare from Mare Reads and Reagan from Ray Ray Reads. All the challenge that I complete this week will be gaining points for the yellow team. So go yellow, and I'm not even wearing yellow. I don't know if I'll ever wear yellow this whole week because I don't know if I own any. I do see a yellow shirt. I'll make sure to wear that. But anyways, go yellow team. Alright, here's my alphabet goop additional challenge that I did for the Disney Channel Games Readathon. You had to create like a word or words out of book spines. So this is what I did. And it's gonna be super annoying to put this all back on my shelf. Hey guys, so I recently reached the halfway point in When No One Is Watching by Alyssa Cole, and this book is dragging for me. Like, I am not going as quickly through it as I wanted to. As you guys know, I have a lot of books I want to read right now, and there's time restraints for getting the points for the DCG Readathon, so I'm really not happy with my progress right now. And I guess that's a reflection of like me not enjoying the book as much as I wanted to, because I don't think it's that long. I think it's just taking me so long to get through it. What's happened so far is that we are following 2 points of view. So Sydney, who is a recent divorcee, and she has moved back into her mom's place, but there seems to be some like weird stuff going on with her mom that we don't know yet. And she is a black woman. And then we have Theo, the other point of view, and he is a white man, and he has recently moved into Sydney's neighborhood with his girlfriend. They like bought one of the houses and they're fixing it up, and their relationship is like really bad. Like really bad, and they basically just bought the house to like fix the relationship, and like that's not the way to go. But anyways, in this neighborhood there is some gentrification going on, which is where like a bunch of white rich people are like buying up the properties of like black businesses and families' houses. And this is like a real thing in real life, so it tackles like a lot of like real life issues. But as this is kind of like a thriller horror book, I think there is going to be a bit more of a twist to it than just people buying up properties. It seems like people are actually disappearing, and there may be some like suspicious things going on here. I mean, that sounds pretty good, right? But for some reason it's just going slow. I think it might be like the characters, and just there's a lot of like talk about history. I'm not the biggest like history person. I sound so ignorant. Just some of it is slow. But as you can imagine, there is a romance brewing between Sydney and Theo, sorry. And I'm really looking forward to seeing more of that happen, and just to see where this plot goes as more and more suspicious things happen in the neighborhood. So yeah, as I said, I'm exactly at 50%, and I only have one more day to read to get the points for the DCG Readathon. So it better get better from here, so I actually want to read. So it's a little bit early to be doing the second additional challenge, but I've already started working on the additional challenge for Simon Says, where you have to recreate something bookish. And so I'm recreating a book cover. Can you guess which one based on this? Hey, so just popping in here to say I made it to 78% of When No One Is Watching, and I am liking it so much more now. Definitely picks up as you would expect a book to in the second half. I will say there are just some really terrible, brutal characters in this book, like the racism and the disrespect is off the chain. Really terrible. So that's really frustrating to read about. There also have been a couple little twists. So there was one twist that like I knew, like Weebin knew, I could see it coming. Then we just had some moral twists that I did not see coming, and that just made it a lot more interesting. So I'm really excited to finish this book up today. I also was working on my challenge that I'm going to be posting in a couple days for the DCG Readathon, and you can go follow me on Instagram so you can see that. It is Marley Reads a Lot on Instagram, so go follow me there. So here we are. I have officially completed the first book of this video. So it completed the first challenge for the DCG Readathon, which was Alphabet Goop. So reading a book that started with the letter W, which was the letter that I had randomly generated, and also the first book that was one of Indigo's top books of the year. And Indigo, and people who bought this book. Y'all are letting me down. I ended up not enjoying this book very much. I give it 3 stars, which maybe seems like that's still kind of a good rating. I don't know. I don't normally give books lower than that, but as you guys already saw, I was not a fan of the first half of the book, and then some things started happening and I did, and then the ending was just like brutal for me again. I felt like the plot became just like very weird. I don't even know how to like put my thoughts into words, but the pacing, I guess, that's what people always say, the pacing was off. I was just like, what is going to happen? And then the things that happened like really rubbed me the wrong way, I guess. Like, I wasn't really happy with what happened during like the climactic part, and then I feel like it got wrapped up like very quickly and very kind of like easily, which had to happen because I thought that the ending was like so crazy. I didn't know how it could get solved, so it kind of needed a quick wrap up, but it wasn't like satisfying. I'm kind of rambling here, but I think I also hinted towards this too, the fact that I never got fully invested in our characters or in our romance, as there is like a main romance, and like it just was not it. It wasn't it. So this was definitely a disappointing way to start off this video. I thought I was going to be reading the best books of the year based on Indigo's list, but clearly not. I definitely see why some people liked this. As I said, the themes had so much potential, like gentrification and like racism, like such prevalent themes right now, and I see what Alyssa Cole was doing, you know, but I feel like she just did not deliver on the potential that there was. But I'm very, very interested to see what what anyone else thinks in the comments. Yeah, I gave it a 3. It's not like it was the worst book I've ever read, but not one of the best. Please, God, make the other books be better than this. Hello, my little readers. So I wanted to do an update on my second book of the vlog before I forget what I want to say. So this is for the Simon Says challenge for the DCG Readathon, so reading a book that people have recommended to you, and it's also my second book out of Indigo's top 50 books, and it's Anxious People by Frederick Bachman, which I would say is like probably the most talked about book of all the books I'm reading this week, and the one I was like most excited for. So when I first started it, I was disappointed, y'all. Like I was like, what is happening? It was just different than what I expected. The way that it's like narrated, yeah, just like the format of how it's being told was just not what I expected. It's about a bank robbery gone wrong. It's about a hostage situation, but it's about a lot of other things. For the first 50 pages or more, it was just following characters that I wasn't loving, or I just wasn't loving it in general, and then after that I started loving it. So it really took a turn. Thank God we didn't have another disappointment on our hands. Oh, I should mention I reached 50%. For the last however many pages, I have been actually loving it. We started following some more interesting characters in my opinion. We started getting little twists. It's one of those books where like you find out like a bunch of people are like connected that you didn't think. Like you're reading about these characters and then like you find out about like a connection, and I didn't know that this was gonna have that. So I really like that element to it. But yeah, Frederick Bachman, the way he's telling the story is like really unique to me. So this is the first one by him I've read, so I'm very interested. If you guys have read his other ones like Beartown or whatever, like does he have the same style? Let me know. But it's definitely unique to me. Like all of the characters are very I don't know how to describe them. Like, I honestly hate a lot of them, like I said, but then they're also endearing at the same time. Like, they're kind of annoying, and it's like the book is self-aware of the fact that they're annoying and like dumb. I don't even know. It's just so different than I thought it was going to be, but definitely a good book. It's definitely better than I originally thought when I started it. But yeah, even though there's like a light-hearted overall tone to it and there's like a lot of humor in it, it does deal with some serious topics as well, as there is so many different characters that are going through a lot of different things. But suicide and like depression is definitely a topic in this, so I guess just like be aware of that if you're gonna read it. But I do think that it's a really good book. I see why this one is in the top 50 books from Indigo and why it's been so popular. This has been an update. Okay, so I just finished Anxious People like 2 seconds ago. Guys, this is such a beautiful book. Most people have read it, you know it. This is why it's one of the best books of the year. I have to give it 5 stars. I was thinking it would only be 4 up until like the very end. I really liked how it ended. It all just like came together so beautifully. It's really just about a bunch of people who I know I said I hated a lot of them at the beginning, but you really grow to love them. And just, I don't know, it's just a beautiful story about like humanity, and I don't even know what to say, but if you've been putting off this book, like, read it, because beautiful. Like, I've never read a book like this before. It makes you feel so many things. Absolutely loved it. So finally we have a success. So that officially is my second book completed out of 5. And since it's only the second day of the Simon Says challenge for DCG, I'm going to start My Dark Vanessa, I think, which is a book that I am not reading for any of the DCG challenges. So I'm going to try and squeeze that in. So that's my plan. So I'm on page 5 of My Dark Vanessa, and I'm already feeling super uncomfortable. So this girl, I don't know how old she is now, but she met her teacher when she was 15 years old, and he was 42. Like, not only is that older, that's a lot older. That's 30 years. And she loved that it was 30 years. This is just gonna get worse and worse. And she doesn't even realize still. Anyways, hello. So I wanted to update because I did reach the halfway point of My Dark Vanessa, and this is not a book that is like fun to vlog about, so I'm not gonna talk too much about it, but I just wanted to give more detail on it. As I kind of hinted towards already, this has multiple timelines. So our first timeline is when Vanessa is 15 years old. She starts to be groomed by her teacher, and you see that relationship, I don't like to call it that, but you see that situation developing. This timeline is obviously the most disturbing one to read about. It's really upsetting. I have really struggled getting through it. I'm reading it quickly, but it's very like heavy and it's like hard to read. It's not an easy read by any means, so definitely be aware of that if you're gonna take this on. Then we have the other timeline where Vanessa's like 32 years old. There are some allegations that are coming out about the teacher. His name is Strain, I think, his last name. People are reaching out to her to say, you know, share your story, because obviously people think that she was also a victim, but she is in denial that she is a victim. She is still standing by him. She doesn't think what he did to her was wrong. She thinks those other girls are lying about him abusing them. It's very complicated. It's very messed up. Just how deep the manipulation with her has gone, where she still is standing by her abuser and not recognizing the trauma that he has caused her. Very interesting, complex topics, but very upsetting, and so I don't want to like talk about it too much in this vlog because that's not really fun, but I just wanted to give an update, a halfway update. I guess I'll let you know when I finish it what my like final thoughts are and my final rating. This book is definitely bringing me down in terms of my mood. couple days since I last updated. It's now Monday, so the whole weekend has passed. I'm not very good about reading on the weekends. I did manage to finish My Dark Vanessa, which I gave 4 out of 5 stars. I feel like it was pretty long and pretty drawn out. That would be the reason for like deducting a star, but pretty good book still. Now I have been reading The Guest List by Lucy Foley. However, it is now the 3rd and final day of the obstacle course challenge for the DCG games, which means I have to finish the book today. It is like 4:30 and I'm only at 35%. So I have to read, what is that, 65% tonight? Which I can definitely do. I'm just like kind of stressed about it because I really do want to stick to like the DCG games schedule and like hit as many challenges as I can. So just a little nervous about that, but I have a couple errands to do and then I'm really just gonna try and dedicate my whole evening to reading it. But so far we have just had like the setup of having all of the guests arriving at the island for the wedding and getting to know all of the characters, the bride and the groom, and the wedding party, just seeing their relationships with each other, how they know each other. There is someone that got killed at the wedding, but we don't even know who it is yet. I can't even have like theories or anything going on at this point since I don't even know who died. But I'm hoping to find that out soon. There's definitely characters that are suspicious, but yeah, can't really know what's going on yet, but it is intriguing. So I definitely don't think it will be too much of an issue to read the whole night, but let's see if I can do it. Hey, so yeah, I'm lying down in bed, but I'm halfway through the guest list and I still don't know who was killed. Like, we still don't know, and I'm getting kind of annoyed with it. I just want to know who died so I can start like theorizing about who did it. I'm guessing that once the climax hits, it's really gonna go off with a lot of action and a lot of craziness, but for the first half it's like all set up and we don't even know who's dead. So far I'm not loving it, but the second half better be a lot better. It better serve me the plot twists that I want. Finally, a twist just happened. How far in are we? We're 70% and a twist just happened. So there you go. But I feel like people probably could have seen it coming. I didn't, because I'm dumb, I guess. But yeah, we got a reveal. Nothing too crazy, but like I really hate this person. I really hate this character so much. Like, I hope he is the one that is dead. Because again, we still haven't found out. How is it 70% through? We still haven't found out who died. It's definitely not what I thought where I said that people start dying. Like, it's just one person that has died and we still don't know who it is. So it's definitely not what I've been pitching. Not what I've been saying, where there's some sort of murder spree. Unless that happens in the last 30%, but I don't think so. It's basically just one murder. Yeah, I really hope it's this person that I hate. That's really evil. Hey, so I just did finish The Guest List by Lucy Foley and the ending was really good. Like, I wish the rest of the book was like the ending. I feel like it had a lot of rising action and not enough falling action. That would be my main complaint because the ending was so good and I feel like if we could have had more time with that moment, it would have been better. So I'm giving it 4 out of 5 stars. Overall, I did really enjoy the thriller. I really liked what ended up being the plot twist and the ending. Give it a round of snaps. I liked what happened. I will say, once the first plot twist happens, you can guess the rest of them. Like, I guessed the rest of the like descending plot twist that came from the initial plot twist, but I still loved it. But yeah, I just kind of wish that the story was told a little differently. As I said, I just felt like there was like nothing happening for so long. It's really just like a build up to the main twist and the main action. It's not really like one of those thrillers where there's twists and turns throughout. So just be aware of that if you decide to pick it up. I would recommend it for like a slow paced, maybe emotional thriller that's gonna make you really mad, like it did for me. So I finished this just in time for the obstacle course challenge for the DCG game, so I just submitted my points. The next challenge is the dunk tank, which is to read a book about water, but I didn't pick a book for this challenge. I think it might be the one challenge I don't do, and I'm going to read The Vanishing Half, which was Indigo's #1 best book of the year. So I'm a little bit nervous for this because I think it is like a historical fiction. I just hope that it's not boring for me. We will see. I will start that tomorrow and let you guys know. Hello. So I have been reading The Vanishing Half, and for the first little bit I was really bored. I was regretting picking it as a book to read. I was like, am I gonna have to DNF this? Was not loving it. And then guys, it just took a turn and I started loving it. I guess that's a theme because that happened with anxious people too. It's so good. And I think the difference in this one is that it follows a few different points of view, and there's certain people I just like better than others. So anyways, the premise is that it's about these twin girls, Desiree and Stella, and they are very like light skinned, and they come from this town that really values light skin, and they are racist basically, and they really look down on like darker skinned people. All of the families like try and like procreate with other light skinned people to just get really light-skinned children. Anyway, so then there's the two twin girls and they end up running away from that town, and then they like separate and end up living separate lives. The one girl marries this very dark man, and so she has a kid, a daughter who also has very dark skin. The other twin ends up marrying a white man and literally just passing as a white woman. Like, she's able to pass as white, and that's what she lets everyone believe about her. So we are seeing their lives, and then we're also seeing their daughters' lives over multiple like timelines. So I can't even tell you what the different timelines are. I think when the daughters are older, it's in the 70s. So that would make it be like in the 50s when the twins are young. I don't even know, but I definitely do find the daughter's points of view a lot more interesting. If you're reading this and you don't like part 1, stick around for the next part. The daughter Jude, I really am interested in her story, and the romance that she has is like really cute. It's really cute and I'm here for it, and I need nothing bad to happen to those characters. Right now where I'm at, we're back to a point of view I'm not loving as much, but this is a really interesting book so far, so I'm glad I didn't decide to DNF it or anything. I do see why it's the best book of the year according to many people, and I'm really excited to just keep reading tonight. I'm at 50%, so I would love to just finish it tonight, but we'll see. So we had a productive day today. I filmed a couple videos for my YouTube channel, so that's exciting. And then I got to 88% of the Vanishing Half. I was hoping to finish it tonight, and I easily could stay up and do that, but I just want to stick to my schedule and go to sleep on time. But I'm still really enjoying this book. I'm so invested in these characters. I still prefer to read about the daughters' points of views. It's a lot more interesting than whenever it focuses on the mothers, aka the twin sisters. But yeah, super interesting book. Definitely recommend, and I'm definitely interested in seeing like how it will end. But I don't really think it's like about the ending. It's really about like the journey and what these characters are going through. It's very interesting to see the contrast between where the two daughters end up based on like how their mothers raised them, how their mothers shared or didn't share things with them, all of that. Hello everyone, here I am, and I officially just finished The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett. The ending was definitely not the strongest part of the book. I think the middle and the whole like journey that we go on throughout was definitely the strongest point of it. So I gave it 5 stars on Goodreads. Maybe it would be 4.5 just based on the ending being a little like lackluster, but overall this was just such a beautiful book, as I think I've already said. Definitely recommend this one, and definitely interested in reading more Britt Bennett. So that was a success. I see why it's been such a popular book this year. So this wraps up the Reading Indigo's Best Books portion of this vlog. Sorry it's so long. So I just thought I'd do a little like summary, maybe like order the 5 books in what I like the most to the least. So I think it's no surprise that I would rank Anxious People by Frederick Bachman as my #1 book that I read this week. I thought the book just had everything in it. It had twists and turns, it had humor, and then it had like really emotional like depth to it, and it was great, and I definitely want to read more of his books. My next favorite would be The Vanishing Half, as I just said. Really love this book. Really think everyone should read it. It explores such interesting themes about like your identity and your race and like how you're raised and how that can like just affect you, obviously. But yeah, really adored that one. Third would be, I think, The Guest List. Kind of ironically, it had the opposite issue of The Vanishing Half. The middle was not as good as the end, whereas The Vanishing Half, the middle was better than the end. But The Guest List was a pretty solid thriller. I would recommend it still, but definitely not my favorite thriller that I've read this year. In fourth place, it would be My Dark Vanessa, which was definitely the hardest book to read, the one that made me most uncomfortable and like really affected me mentally. But it was genuinely a really good book, just that it can be very long and it is kind of like a character study. So if you're into those types of books, it's good. And unfortunately, in last place, it would be the first book I read way back at the beginning of last week when I read When No One Is Watching. This just wasn't my type of book. Just didn't really jive with it. I can still see elements of why some people would like it, but obviously, as you saw, I was not a big fan. So now there is just one challenge left in the DCG Readathon, and that is the Buddy Read Challenge. And I did not plan anything for this because I didn't know if I was going to have time to read a book during this challenge, but I think I'm gonna try to. I am busy this weekend with like a family get together for Christmas, so might not happen, but I think I'm going to choose one of the books that is being read by one of the groups, and so that would count as a buddy read as a bunch of people are reading those books. And I think the one that I want to choose is In a Holidays by Christina Lauren, which I know the green team is buddy reading or group reading. I think that one will be relatively short as it is like a contemporary romance book, and it's also one that I've been hearing so much about, so I really want to read it. It's also Christmassy, which is perfect, especially if I'm having like my Christmas celebration this weekend. And I've never read any Christina Lauren. People talk about them so much, so I definitely would like to try out a Christina Lauren book too. So we'll see if I can get to that book and see if this vlog will go on any longer. But yeah, stay tuned. So me and Milo are here to update you. So it is the last day of the DCG Readathon, and I just got to 50% of In a Holidays. I think I can easily read the last half quickly this afternoon and accomplish the last goal, but I'm not loving the book, unfortunately. So in case you don't know, In a Holidays, it has like the Groundhog Day trope where there's a girl like reliving the same week over and over. So her name's May, she's like 26, and her family and a bunch of other families always go to this like cabin or like cottage every Christmas and spend the week together there. And in the beginning, they're just leaving the cabin and they get hit by a car, and then she wakes up again at the beginning of the week and relives it, and there you go. And then it's like a romance too. I'm very confused. I've been very confused about who the love interest is because I really thought it was going to be this one person, and then now it's seeming like it's a different person, but I feel like there's still a chance it could be the other one. Anyways, the one that she's like engaging with more and that it's focusing on more is not the one I like. So if that ends up being the main romance, then I don't really like it. So aww. So yeah, I'm feeling kind of disappointed because I just don't like the romance that it's focusing on, and I'm just holding out hope. Not even that I hate it, I just like don't find it interesting, but I'm still holding out hope that the actual love interest will be a different person. Hello. Sorry the lighting is so bad. I didn't bring my ring light to my mom's, but I did just finish In a Holidays and I did not love it. It was very, very average to me. I would probably give it like a 3 stars. This was my first Christina Lauren book, so it's kind of a disappointing read for me, but I would maybe give more of their books a chance, but definitely was not impressed with this one. I found it to be very boring. The romance specifically was very boring, and the whole Groundhog Day theme, I definitely feel like they could have done more with it. I just feel like there's a lot more potential than what happened. So definitely started out this video with a disappointment, ended it with a disappointment, but at least there were some good books in between, and this readathon was really fun and I enjoyed doing a lot of the challenges. But I think that's gonna wrap up this video now. Thank you guys so much for watching and sitting through this really long vlog, and please subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.